You did it. You guys did this, okay? You did this. No credibility to the institutions whatsoever. Donald Trump, congratulations. You did this, okay?
First of all, the FCC is, you have to have a license to broadcast, which is kind of crazy when you think about what that means now. Because, like, what does it mean? It used to mean that you used to have a license to broadcast because you were going to influence so many people. They had to make sure that you were on the up and up, right? So they had to make sure that you didn't swear. So if you had a license and you were on CBS or NBC or ABC, you could not swear, right? That was the rule. And then along came cable. And somehow or another, cable
changed the game.
Is a different thing, right? Because cable, you just... You have to pay for it, I guess, so it's different. And so then some of the channels, you don't have to pay for. It used to be the only ones that swore were like HBO, where you had to pay for. And then all of a sudden it became kind of any of them because they realized, like, hey, we don't, like FX, we can swear, guys. Like, we only don't swear because we want to think of ourselves as TV.
Right.
But HBO was like, you know, with The Sopranos, with HBO comedy specials, in the beginning, that was a big one. You could just swear. Movies, you didn't have to bleep anything out, just wild. And so these, what you're dealing with even, like, first of all, I definitely don't think that the government should be involved ever in dictating what a comedian can or cannot say in a monologue. That's crazy.
It's crazy.
Now, if the problem is the companies, if they're being pressured by the government, so if that's real, and if people on the right are like, yeah, go get them, oh my God, you're crazy. You're crazy for supporting this because this will be used on you. You don't think that the globalist lizard people who run the world are sitting here going, great, what do we got, 3 years? We'll wait this out. Wait this out. Yeah. Let them say the government should be involved in censoring people's speech. Yeah. Let them support that. Let these dumbasses, because Jimmy Kimmel's a leftist, let these think it's a good idea and we should celebrate that.
That's the most toxic shit I keep seeing online when people are like, yeah, shut him down.
So going back to this Jimmy Kimmel thing, there's a lot going on with this.
Do you know him, by the way, or
yes,
no?
He's
radical leftist Jimmy Kimmel, dude. How warped are you? Also, I do love Santino, or is Andrew Santino? You hate him? Wait, why? I think he's hilarious. You have to also remember, they're paying the piper. They have to suck Joe Rogan's toes. Come on, man. Stavros does it too. That's just a thing that you have to do, okay? It's the easiest layup for every comic. Let's be real. Some of them do actually push back on Joe Rogan's mania every now and then, but
a good guy. Jimmy's a good guy. He's a smart guy. He's a funny guy. He was always very funny on when you know, he did that Windy City Heat thing.
I love that. It's such a good movie.
Santino's been a Trump guy for a long time. What? When? What the just made that up, bro? That is not even remotely correct. I don't think he's like a card-carrying leftist or anything like that, but he is a lib for sure. Watch his podcast. No, he's apolitical, but has like lib meanings for sure. You're wrong if you think that he's a Trump guy. What, you think anyone that is a comedian that like makes the easiest, bare minimum, lowest common denominator Asian jokes against his Asian co-host is actually a Trump guy? What are you, crazy? So I'm finding out one of his faves is bad policy. I wouldn't say he's one of my faves, but I think that this is yet another instance where like leftists who unironically just like despise comedy and don't actually spend a lot of time around like normal people forget that like in the normal world, people's considerations for other marginalized communities is not so heightened as it is in this community, or I guess like the circles that you frequent online. Yeah, they do this about Shane Gillis too, where they're like, oh, he's a Trump supporter. Bro, stop defending trash comedians. Oh my God, I don't care one way or another. I literally don't give a if you don't like him. Everything I've seen of his comedy, I have liked. I also don't care if you don't like him. Yes, he is a reactionary that must be that must be prosecuted. One of the worst aspects, one of the most consequential aspects of comedy in the podcasting era has been, well, one, it's like made comedy overall much worse. Okay. But one of the most consequential aspects have been that people who don't understand the medium at all have a say in this, and they unironically think that these people are demonstrating their sincerely held beliefs when they're attempting a bit. A lot of people don't understand that the personal politics of someone can be quite different from the way that they're presenting an issue. That's number one. But of course, I get why you couldn't comprehend that, because you don't think that this person is doing a performance, because the podcasting medium has basically changed that dynamic in its entirety. That's number one. And number two, when a comedian is putting out jokes, it's like a musician putting out an album. Not every single part of the album is going to be bangers. Some of the songs you're going to skip. There are very few albums that are all hits, no misses. However, when a comedian actually has a miss, you think personally that that is a sincerely held belief that the comedian had, and now they're being reactionary. This is a real issue. This is why I always do the Hasanabi Autism Power Hour, where I try to describe to people like that this is how comedy works. This is how jokes work. Okay? A good comedian is capable of touching on sensitive issues without offending people because they're making them laugh. But if you are actually touching on a sensitive issue and you fail to make people laugh, all of a sudden you're a racist. That's how it works. Once again, your album take is your absolute worst take. You just don't like music. Oh my God, bro, come on.
I think he tried to distance himself from that.
Oh,
Dude,
big
became
time.
like very, very successful because it's a 25-year prank.
What's his name? Perry Farrell?
Yeah. No, let's not mention him.
Okay.
Let's, because
I
he's
know.
litigious. Let's just have people go find it when he
Go
said
find it.
heat. But you see that and you go, oh, that's the same guy. Like, yeah. Well, so one thing that does happen to guys as they get older is, they soften their ways and they change who they are. And
This is the white moderate rhetoric? Yes, dude. White moderates, all of them. Famously apolitical white moderate. Shane is a Trump guy. The f- are you on about? You're literally doing the thing that I was trying to explain, which is that comedians, their output is not the entirety of their personal politics. They are trying to entertain. If it's not for you, it's fine. You just move along, okay? Hasan loves to defend his fellow famous men, though. Exactly. There is a definite cynical purpose here because I love defending famous guys. That's classic. It can't possibly be that this is an issue that I have explained every single time, so much so that there is literally an explaining jokes autism power hour segment that I do all the time. Yes, I know Shane Gillis did a podcast with a neo-Nazi who sent me death threats and talked about me. I know. Yeah, he hung out with Sam Hyde. People want everything to be a think piece. I know. It doesn't matter. Yeah, so did Adam Friedland. Well, I don't think he talked about me with Adam Friedland, but still. You're a comedy bro, a debate bro, and a gym bro, and a debate bro. Why do I watch? Because I'm not a debate bro. I am a gym bro, and I certainly am a comedy bro, though, for sure.
change how they interface with the world, and and then if you're in Hollywood, you're also addicted to an ideology, and it depends on what kind of style you have. So if you have a funny, mocking style that is like satirical, that's always making fun of things tongue-in-cheek, like Norm Macdonald, perfect example. Norm Macdonald, even if he's making fun of you, is not going to piss you off to the point where you tweet about him. Because if you do, he kind of won. He kind of got you. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So it's like Kimmel.
You remember that thing you used to do almost every day a few years ago where you had to tell shouters to stop moralizing why they don't like stuff? We got to go back to that, Lamau. I mean, I kind of mention that all the time. Why is your take about Dave Chappelle different, though? What do you mean? My take about Dave Chappelle is not different. It's the exact same take. Dave Chappelle literally could not let go of the transphobic side of his commentary, so much so that his entire commentary turned into cancel culture and how the wokes are ruining comedy. That is the poison pill for all comedians, okay? That is the unironic poison pill. My anger and resentment towards Dave Chappelle is because of how prominent and how important of a comedian he was early on in his career, as opposed to what he has become. My expectations are much higher from someone like Dave Chappelle. That's what this is.
Has this sort of go yourself style. Well, because it's kind of ironically, he celebrated in his monologue when Tucker Carlson got fired. It's kind of a problem.
Yeah.
And it's also kind of a problem that he, in his monologue, talked about how it was the right thing to fire Roseanne.
Yeah, I remember that.
A little bit of a problem.
Yeah.
A little bit of a problem.
Interesting. When did Roseanne get fired? And why did Roseanne get fired? Was it perhaps because the administration at the time was applying pressure from the FCC to fire Roseanne? That would be quite weird if that was the case, considering that it was under Donald Trump. Donald Trump was the president, Joe. Did he fire Roseanne? Did he demand the firing of Roseanne? Or was Roseanne fired because she was saying insane calling a black woman a monkey? Like, yeah, that's the reason. And the reason why Fox News fired Tucker Carlson was not because of pressure from any administration, but because the owner of Fox News was frustrated with the level of prominence that Tucker Carlson had. And also, he was costing them billions of dollars with the Dominion shit that was going on. So that's probably a big reason when you lose $1 billion because you are knowingly lying about the outcome of a election in an effort not to lose your fan base. Yeah, that's probably going to be the reason. Don Lemon was fired and you never hear libs holding water for him. Exactly. That's crazy, man. The f are these guys doing? These are not comparable instances.
Also a problem that he thought the unvaccinated, he made a joke about the unvaccinated people shouldn't get hospital care if there's people who are vaccinated that need that room. I think the joke was, oh, vaccinated person who's had a heart attack, come right in here, sir. Unvaxxed person who gobbled horse goo, rest in peace, Wheezy. Like, that was the joke. Look, I'm unvaccinated.
I'm telling you, this is why they wanted Jimmy Kimmel. This is why they see Jimmy Kimmel as a primary op, dude. Just a whole litany of different nonsensical bullshit that is irrelevant in the point of contention here, only to then turn around and be like, and my personal anger towards Jimmy Kimmel is the reason why I'm looking the other way here.
Vaccinated. And I was like, that's kind of a f***ed up joke, but I'm not mad at him.
No, it's a joke.
It's just a joke.
It's a joke.
But it's like, those things weren't a problem. But this one thing where he said it was a low point. What did he say? I want to be real clear. Let's like pull up his actual quote, because what he said was not bad. It wasn't accurate though, but it wasn't bad. He was just trying to set up this joke of Trump, which was good.
It was a great joke.
It was very funny.
But the setup was a little wonky. I do remember listening to it.
It was also it's the problem with doing it that way on Monday is that by Sunday night, they already knew that this guy, his family had been saying that, again, I don't even know if he really did it.
Oh my Lord, brother. What do you mean? Oh, I don't like the way he set up the joke. It was misinformation. Joe is the last person on the planet to be the guy who dictates the truth. Okay? By design, Mr. Ivermectin should not be the primary, the sole dictator of what gets to be said that is truthful and what's not truthful. Come on, man.
But this person who they're...
Yeah, Mr. Why does it lie when talking about a YouTube title? Mr. We should actually make it illegal to fact check people. Oh my God.
Talking about
Who the plant.
this person who they're talking about, whether or not he did it or didn't do it. Well, the FBI is now investigating deeply and further, by the way.
Yeah, we'll find out.
So Kash Patel did say that. Whatever that means.
Yeah, that was
Okay.
it's a weird phrasing when he goes, they're trying to pin it as anybody but them.
Yeah.
Asserting that he was a MAGA
Well, this is the
guy.
thing. In the beginning, people thought he was. So the first reports were that he was a hardcore right-wing guy, that he was a registered Republican, which he may or may not be. Sometimes people go back and forth,
Sure.
you know. And then the other thing was that he was a groiper. So he was a Nick Fuentes fan. That was some other stuff that was going around.
What's Groiper?
Oh, by the way, Joe Rogan also doesn't trust the official government narrative on the Charlie Kirk assassination, which is excellent. You did it. You guys did this, okay? You did this. Donald Trump, congratulations. You did this, okay? No one trusts, no credibility to the institutions whatsoever, because how the do you expect people to trust the institutions when it's Kash Patel leading the FBI, the least trustworthy person I've ever encountered, okay?
We'll get into that in a bit.
Okay.
Hold, please.
Yeah.
Then it came out that, no, his father is a law enforcement guy?
I don't think that's true.
That's not true?
I think that's what that was part of the story, but I think later found out that wasn't
Right.
true also. I don't know.
So
I'll look
What's
it up.
true?
some family members, by Sunday, the Utah governor was saying that family members were reporting that this young man had been wrapped up in some very hardcore leftist ideology. So this had already been released on Sunday. So on Monday, if Kimmel had just said,
Wrapped up with hardcore leftist ideology. Okay, dude.
you know, it was a tragic thing that Charlie Kirk died, and let's see what the president thinks about it.
It's-
Goes right to him, and like, what if this is the fourth stage of grief?
It's a great joke.
Destruction. It's a great joke. The whole thing was great, but the problem is we had already.
Yeah, it's not confirmed that he's right wing. It's confirmed that he's left wing. He's radical leftist ideology. And as a radical leftist, he was also pro-Israel and possibly a shooter that was working at the directive of the Israeli government, which is a famous radical lefty thing.
known by then. Again, at least the narrative is that this kid is not a MAGA.
I like that he just flipped the script on this, by the way. No, the narrative was that he was a radical lefty, and it turned out that might not be the case. By the time that Jimmy Kimmel was talking about it, which was the correct statement that he made, which was that these guys spent the entire weekend claiming he was not in any way, shape, or form connected to their cause or connected to it was one of theirs. That's what they did. They spent the entire weekend doing that. Whether it turned out that those statements were correct or incorrect doesn't matter to the subject. Anyway, Mr. I think fact checkers should go to prison.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
He set it up in a way that, like, okay, you're saying something that's actually
Weird details about the Charlie Kirk assassination. This is from 1 day ago. Already has 3.5 million views. Let's fucking go, fam.
factually inaccurate,
Right.
according to the narrative. Now, let's be real clear. I don't necessarily think they know what's going on yet. There's a lot of weird shit going on with this.
I know.
First of all, there was that.
Bro, I'm telling you, these guys have bricked their brains. Okay? They have bricked their brains so hard that it is literally impossible for them to correctly analyze the situation, and they are too susceptible to misinformation. This is a major weakness. Okay? This is a major weakness for the right. So much so that unironically, it's literally easier to just lie about a situation instantly if you're like a liberal and just be like, nah, this guy was a right winger. And these guys are more likely to believe that narrative. It already happened. Half of the right decided that this wasn't like sufficiently attacking trans people. So they were like, I'm questioning the official narrative. And then the other half of the right was immediately like, no, Israel did this. And that is part of the reason why. And then liberals were also immediately going, this is a groiper. So there was so much misinformation in the immediate aftermath of the shooting that they couldn't even come together on an official narrative that actually helps the purpose of the right here. Like to design this as like an Antifa operation that took place. And that's why we have to deal with Antifa. It's so crazy. I never thought I would see the day.
One guy who is the decoy. All right, so you got this guy who's an older guy who starts yelling out. Didn't he take his pants down? He took his pants down. This guy was at 9/11. He was at the Boston bombings.
All the hits.
He called in a fake bomb at another place. And then he did this at this.
No, he wasn't at the Boston bombing. He was... he did a fake bomb threat to, I think, a Utah marathon. He wasn't at the Boston bombing, but he did a fake Boston bombing style threat.
thing. Right after, so
And
somehow
I don't think he was at 9/11 either.
or another, this guy has
I
the
forget
state
what his
of
connection is to 9/11 though. I think he had some. He wasn't at 9/11, but he had some connection to 9/11. I forget what it was. I think he was like, I don't know what it was. He said something about 9/11.
mind that the moment someone gets shot, he yells out and says, I did it, and takes his pants down or something like that. I don't know exactly what he did. Then, ready for this? He gets arrested for child right away.
Right after this happened?
Oh, right away. He's in jail for Why is that? Well, now you can't interview him.
Right, he's got, right.
Right, and because when the internet people start going, how are you at all these different things? Like, what are the odds? Like, if someone ran it through one of the ChatGPT perplexity things, like, what are the odds that this guy would be at all those different events and be involved? Like, zero.
Again, Joe Rogan presents misinformation about a super weird guy who played a super weird role, super suspicious role in this, right? That part is true. But he presents a bunch of misinformation that he just half remembers or misunderstands, and then is confused and scared by his own misinformation that he just presented. Dude, think critically, man. Please. Some of the stuff that he said is true. Like, the guy volunteered the information to law enforcement at the hospital that he had child material on his phone. The guy did also come out and said, I did it, and I would do it again, drawing a lot of attention in the immediate aftermath of the shooting. This is strange, okay? And he has some kind of connection to 9/11, I can't remember. And also, he did do a bomb threat for a separate marathon, not the Boston Marathon bombing. Do we know if he had CSAM? Yes, he did. He said he had CSAM on his phone, and then the authorities looked through his phone and found out that yes, he did have CSAM on his phone. It was crazy. That guy is mentally unstable, and it's strange that in that moment, he actually offered protective cover to whoever the shooter was, okay? That's weird enough in and of itself, but it's really funny that Joe adds a bunch of other shit that he misunderstood and then gets scared by it, okay?
This is the guy?
Yeah.
I just like that the pants down part is just insane to me. It's like, why is your dick out, dude?
I did it. Listen, I'm not saying this guy isn't insane. He's clearly insane.
Yeah.
Or not. Or he's professionally insane.
Right.
That's where it gets squirrely.
I almost texted you when the Charlie Kirk thing happened because my antennas went up about, they showed the photo of that kid, or the guy that they have, the 22-year-old, whatever. And I was almost going to be like, dude, that, you think he's got the capability to do that?
Yeah, well, listen, there are people that look like that have the capability to do that.
Pretty accurate.
Nope.
No?
Not hard. Not hard at all.
Hard.
Let me dispel that. Okay. 200 yards from a prone position with a dead-on rifle. So if you have a dead-on rifle, so you set this rifle, you set your 0 to 200 yards, right? You know how far you're going to shoot. It is not hard at all.
He shot a lot?
You don't have to shoot a lot.
So
I could do it tomorrow.
If you're no, but you are experienced. If it's someone that's never shot, could they do it?
100%. Not
Really?
if they've never shot. They wouldn't know where to look. They'd have a hard time acquiring the like when you look through a scope, like when the reticle is weird. Like sometimes
Takes a minute.
You got to know the distance that you have to be from it to really line it up in your sights. But you could get a guy like my friend Andy Stumpf, who was a sniper in the SEALs. You could get him, and he could show you how to do it in an afternoon, and then you could hit steel at 200 yards every time you pull the trigger.
One day you could learn that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Not that hard.
Because it feels insane to me. I'm like, that seems tough.
It seems tough. We still haven't figured out whether or not the gun that shot Trump had a sight on it, because we weren't sure if it had a sight on it or if this guy was using iron sights. That was 140 yards. If you shot it with iron.
No, he had a scope on the weapon. Bro, what is going on? There are weird things about the situation, but it is so hard. God damn, dude. There are already enough suspicious circumstances surrounding the incident, but it's so hard to accurately understand what took place when it's mother Joe Rogan talking about this. Oh, he's talking about the Trump shooter. Oh, my bad. I misunderstood. He's talking about the PA shooter. I thought he was talking about the Tyler Robinson again. Oh, my God. I'm sorry. I apologize to Joe Rogan for this dilution. My coworkers listen to this guy, Lamau. You really are the Joe Rogan of the left? Classic. I know.
Sights, that's a lot harder. Because iron sights is you're lining up. So you have these two things in the back and there's one thing at the front of the barrel. And you got to line.
There's a video going viral saying the whole thing is fake. 5 million views in YouTube in 2 days. Candace Owens is even wondering if there was a trap door underneath them. Oh my God. Oh my God. That's awesome. Hell yeah, dude. What are you going to do about that?
Line is up perfectly, and that's how you stay accurate. That is a lot harder to do.
It's like old shotguns have those, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Pistols.
Yeah,
like
pistols
you buy a
got 'em.
Glock,
Yeah.
that's what it comes with.
Right.
But this kid had a rifle with a scope. Now, here's where it gets weird. The first images of this rifle with a scope, I swear to God, it looks like he has a composite stock on it. Like it looks like a modern 30-06 rifle. So a 30-06, so that's the rifle. 30-06 is like, that looks like a very modern looking stock. I mean, it might not be. It might be just a bad resolution. It might be wood. It's hard to tell. But if you showed me that and you said, hey, this is my cousin's rifle, is this any good? I'd be like, looks like a standard bolt action rifle with like a sophisticated modern scope on it. Sure. Now, apparently, the narrative is that this is his grandfather's rifle from World War I and doesn't have a serial code. Okay.
Interesting.
Okay. Why? Wait. Why are you using such an old gun? Like, that's kind of crazy. Like, is it possible that an old gun can be that accurate? If you have a gunsmith and they work on it, yeah, it's totally possible. You have a really good gunsmith and he sets, if you're like a nostalgic person, you like driving an old car, you could bring it to a mechanic, they could redo the brakes.
Sure.
So if you got a good gunsmith and he took a look at that and the action was true and, you know, the bore is good, you know, yeah, you could conceivably shoot with a gun for hundreds of years, right? Guns don't necessarily go bad.
Right, they don't expire.
Right, and especially because all the stuff like the trigger and the action and all that different stuff is replaceable. So you could just like it's compartmentalized. It's components. That's the other thing. They said that he took it apart and then put it back together again. Shut up. Do you know how much time it would take to do that if you were highly skilled?
To disassemble a gun.
To disassemble a rifle so that you can get it in a backpack. And by the way, not going to fit.
Not going to fit in the backpack.
And then somehow or another reconnects it once he gets off the roof? What? What's that about?
Is that what they pitched, huh?
Yeah. And then he's supposed to get it in that stupid backpack. It's literally, it makes no sense.
Dude, one of my favorite aspects of this story has been all the gun tubers being like, the official narrative presented by the FBI is so fucking stupid, okay? This has been one of my, I told you this already. As soon as I saw some of the claims that were being made by the FBI, I was like, there is no shot that gun tubers who have massive right-wing audiences, of course, were going to take the official narrative and run along with it. Okay? It just does not make any sense. And these guys love recreating high-profile assassinations. They are going to endlessly discuss this. They are going to try to recreate it and show that it's impossible to recreate over and over again. This is what they do. This is their bread and butter. They're gun sexuals, man. It was so dumb for them to not wait a couple days and reveal accurate information about the gun and what took place, because these guys are going to obviously go through it and discuss it.
Eyewitness to 9/11, which is weird, this guy, the old guy. And then he was arrested for threatening to bomb the Salt Lake City Marathon finish line in 2013. This is George Zinn, Z-I-N-N. There's so many different things, and I get it.
Believe me, I'm always the last person to be like, okay, buddy.
That's the odds of that are in the billions.
They said that's like 0.00007% likelihood that this guy was there for 9/11. He was there for Charlie Kirk's murder, and there was a third component. He was there for some.
He was. I think he was arrested for terrorism. Allegedly.
Listen, if there's anybody that doesn't go down the rabbit hole, it's me.
My goats. When the goats talk, you listen. Okay, that's called valuetainment, baby. It's called goat talk. And when the goats are talking, we shut and we listen. Yeah, Candace Owens is running around talking about a trap door potentially. Candace basically saying, do I have evidence Charlie Kirk was killed by a shooter who hid behind a trap door beneath his feet? No. But it's alarming that the federal government hasn't investigated this because that's what happened. She's insane, says Pedro L. Gonzalez.
Pipeline.
Is she insane or is she the most sane out of all of us? Oh my God. It's hard. It's hard for me when the administration is so desperately attempting to create a profile of the shooter that will allow them to stamp out any sort of leftist opposition. It is so hard for me not to lean into these guys who are very clearly destroying that narrative every single day with their ginormous audience of right-wingers. Oh, that's hard for me. Hard for me to look at this, give horse, I guess, and say, no, the teeth are perfectly fine. I'm going to look at the gift horse in the mouth and say, no, the teeth, not so great.
Almost exactly behind where Charlie was sitting. Here's that maybe it's a water pipeline. I don't know, but there it is under the flag. And to your right.
My favorite version of this was they were saying that the auditorium, like the outdoor seating that Charlie Kirk was at the center of, looked like the candles that you light during Hanukkah, a menorah. Awesome, dude. Respect to the mentally ill. You know what I mean? Shout out mental illness, dude. Y'all are really cooking with gasoline. Okay.
I went into my tips line and I saw that somebody had messaged me about this. More than one person messaged me about this. They're like, hey, yeah, there's like a whole underground thing there. And to your right, you're observing those two little boxes. And they told me that was a trap door. Now, I'm not implying someone, popped up and shot Charlie, but that's a close up of that area. I'm just implying that there's an entire underground there. And I remember
Hamas tunnel or the same kind of tunnel system that we saw in New York in the Chabad tunnel, like the ones we saw in Brooklyn. I'm just saying. The year of the tunnel continues. Yeah.
When I looked at the footage, I felt like it was coming up. I don't know anything about ballistics. I'm not an expert. But if there was a hatch door nearby, then we can assume, as we should always assume with colleges, obviously stadiums, there's always an underground path. So I'm wondering if the federal government has explored the possibility that somebody could have been under Charlie and done that while everyone's looking around and thinking that a shot went off from here, if that was just maybe like decoy number 2, and actually Charlie was shot from beneath him, which then could maybe explain why there was no exit wound. Again, I'm theorizing because I have a right to. I have a right to think.
Yo, she has a right to think. That's true. Hey, more power to Candace Owens, okay? Listen. More. She has a right to think.
And that is interesting to me. Where does it go?
There was a Twitter response to that photo also saying, I'm a literal Nazi and I think this is bullshit. Yeah.
Where do the tunnels underneath UVU lead to, right? That's an interesting question. Maybe everyone's looking up when we should be looking below.
You can't stop calling her Candace. I don't know what you're talking about. I never did. This is an issue of utmost importance. Breaking. Candace Owens was able to speak with the man who recorded the alleged footage of Tyler Robinson on the roof before the shooting. His testimony completely contradicts everything we've been told by the FBI. His footage was recorded just 20 seconds before Charlie Kirk's assassination, according to the timestamp. He allegedly saw the shooter holding a smaller firearm and believes Charlie was shot with a lightweight bullet. This witness also provided a description to law enforcement that was never released to the public. He says the assassin was wearing tactical gear, a face mask, and looked like a foreign agent. Wow.
Very much, and maybe this is a poor way of saying it, a straight shooter said, yes, I have training. And I don't want to give too many identifying details here, but this person himself has a lot of experience with guns and knows guns and, helps to train people in that sort of a capacity, and said that they observed that individual, the FBI saying that the shooter dropped onto the roof at 12:15 didn't make sense to him. He said earliest it was 12:22. that the individual ran across.
This was a tactical style individual that was doing a tactical ascertainment in the moment.
Set up, took the shot, and I said, well, you must have been there, because he then sends me I wanted to see all of the metadata of when he took that footage, and the metadata begins at 12:22 and goes into 12:23, the very minute that Charlie gets shot. And he says, yeah, I saw the shot. I had just stopped recording about 20 seconds before the shot rang out. And he said that he told them a description of.
I never saw coming to the whole deep conspiracy nature of the Trump supporters might backfire. Gives hope in a weird way. Yeah, that's why I'm just observing. Not everything needs a reaction. Sometimes it's okay to just admire from afar. Okay? I'm just observing. I'm tactically ascertaining. I'm tactically engaging in the act of observation. You can sit back and observe sometimes. Okay? That's what's going on here.
What the shooter looked like. And it was not the description that the entire world received less than 24 hours later of this person, Tyler Robinson, wearing jeans. I said, was he wearing jeans? He said, no. Actually, this person was dressed in tactical gear and he was wearing a face mask. And he said, according to him, and like I said, he has a lot of experience with guns, that this person looked to him like a foreign agent. I don't know if he's wearing all black, how he got that, but he said there's no.
I believe him. He looked Israeli. Dude, the amount of mental illness I have seen about the Charlie Kirk stuff on the timeline, where the administration is like so desperately trying to create this perfect narrative about Trantifa, and these guys are like, nope, not even a little bit. There is so much. Nope, that was definitely, he's Mossad. He's Jewish. I know, because he was wearing a kippah. That's right.
He was very certain that this person was skilled, knew exactly what he was doing, and was highly trained, like a highly trained assassin, so to speak. Okay.
Man, being white is so OP. Nazis will invent false flag to get you off charges. Oh yeah. No, you saw what happened once they found out that he wasn't just any kind of white guy, but he was the type of white guy from like a MAGA loving Mormon family. Everybody literally was like, oh shit. Oh God, we got to pray for his soul. We got to pray for his soul, man. Like, we got to pray for his goddamn soul. Okay. You understand me? It's amazing. That's all it took.
He then says something else. As soon as George Zinn got arrested and that started circulating, he ran to someone on campus and said, this is the wrong person. I observed this person with my eyes. You have the complete wrong description. The person you're looking for is wearing tactical gear and is obviously young, because I watched him sprint back after taking the shot. I saw this with my own two eyes. And for whatever reason, that never made its way out that we can see of a description of a person wearing tactical gear. We're kind of left with this idea that he was wearing the now infamous veterans shirt with the American flag on it and some jeans. So he also said something that we had not heard, which is that he knows guns, and the gun that the FBI found was not the gun that he saw, that the gun that he saw was smaller. And I'm going to read you directly a text message that he sent me, again, protecting his identity. He said, watching the video of the impact, hearing the sharp crack instead of a big hunting rifle's boom, and seeing what looked like a shorter rifle platform, albeit with the absence of the shape of a standard 30-round magazine, the assassin may have used a 10 or 20-round magazine, only expecting to shoot once or twice. I would guess that he was shot with a Hornady V.
This doesn't feel like a real... It feels super fabricated.
But here's the thing. Just like I was talking about when people are arguing on social media, it's all part of the plan. If you want things to be...
I wanted it so bad. Buckets.
If you want people to lose all faith that anyone is going to solve anything, you add a bunch of... If you're going to kill a guy, you add a bunch of other wacky shit that doesn't make any sense, and you spam it out there at the same time. You leave a gun that didn't do it out in the woods. You do a bunch of shit like that.
You have an old man put his dick out and yell, I did it, I did it.
Yeah, you get some kid who has a boyfriend who's a furry, and you
His boyfriend is a
talk to him on
furry?
Discord. I think he's a furry.
Is
I don't
that
want to disrespect.
I don't know if that's a
He's
real
definitely
thing. Is that?
His boyfriend's definitely a guy who became a girl.
And wears furry stuff.
I think they do furry sex. I think or furry games. Excuse me. My apologies. I don't want to disrespect the furry sex
Shout out
or
to the
furry
furry
game community.
Yeah.
Bro, shout out to the furries because me and Duncan.
That's where it ends.